their independent skills, learning how to manage money, things like that. That's part of why we recommended that foster carers do need to all be undertaking a certain amount of training and refresher training. They'll do basic training, but there's more and more that we could encourage them to do. We also have recommendations about the social care process, because the young people spoke to us about how often they had new social workers. And I know that because this has been a report that's been a long time in the making, I know that there is work ongoing with some of these things, and that the restructure that's going on during the piece will make a difference to some of those issues. But when young people said, I couldn't get hold of my social worker, sometimes I didn't know who my social worker was, that was a concern, and that's why we made the recommendations we have, that the organisation of the social care teams can contribute towards greater stability of care for the child. We were very aware that education is important, and when we went to visit schools, we found that the schools were in cases very passionate about their looked after young people. They wanted to do the best for them, and they found difficulty sometimes in getting hold of the relevant person in the social care team. And that's a shame, isn't it? That's a thing that can be improved, and that's why we've made the recommendations around structural changes or procedural changes, if you like, that could make that difference. There are recommendations about post-16 support. How many young people do you know these days who leave home at 16 or even 18 and go to live on their own? And I know you've got issues perhaps before you later on this evening that speak to some of that. Employability. We heard about one company which has a policy of always looking to take on a looked after child as part of their apprenticeship scheme. And we know that the council has done some work to make available places for looked after children. Wouldn't it be great if we could explore whether, when we have a contract with somebody else, we could encourage them to consider one of our looked after children as one of their apprentices, giving them a chance, even just giving them some work experience. And housing, well, it's important that these young people have somewhere secure to live, and I do know there's work going on like that. So it's a detailed report. There were 25 recommendations, and I'm just really giving you a bit of the heart that goes with the recommendations, because I think, since I've been elected to the council, the thing that's been a real eye-opener for me has been sitting on the corporate parenting group and hearing more about the work that we do for our looked after children, and wanting to make it as good as we can, and I'm sure that you would agree with that. So thank you very much.
Wendy, thank you very much for those comments. I think they were very helpful, and really important messages that you gave. So I really appreciate you coming on to that. I want to say a few sort of few things in addition to what you said, but I'll just give Tony as the cabinet member an opportunity to add anything. Tony, that you feel is appropriate.
Thanks, Chair. Wendy, can I just say that it's an excellent piece of work that's been done by yourself, Walter, and Pat, and all the people. I mean, I think it was the director really who said it's almost as good as an off-state inspection, or probably even better. And I think the fact that the work you did with the children visited the schools as well, I think it does bring it home to all elected members and to all departments how important it is for us to be aware of the children, be involved in what they're doing in that. And certainly my drive this year particularly is to ensure that we have the best outcomes for our looked after children, and that means that the attainment levels in mainstream schools, starting at nursery level and working these way right up to secondary school level, that we do get similar attainments to the best of the children in the authority. Can I just also say that I also think it's very important that we revisit your recommendations. I would be suggesting that we do that in 12 months' time to see whether we actually have all those recommendations, because you can produce reports, they can be forgotten that, but I know that's not going to happen in this case. So yes, we want to bring it back to the committee perhaps in 12 months' time, and look at how far we moved on these really excellent recommendations. So thank you again, and the other members of the committee.
Okay. If I could just sort of really formalise that, I'd just like to sort of move the following. First of all, to thank you, Wendy, and the Task and Finish Group for your report. Secondly, I think this is an excellent example of effective scrutiny that we should seek to replicate across other pieces of work, scrutiny work. Thirdly, I would say Cabinet accepts all the recommendations in the report. Fourthly, just picking up on Tony's point, we asked for a progress report in 12 months' time. So I do think we need to ensure that the recommendations are being implemented. And then finally, I think it would be really helpful if we actually had a seminar on this for all members, because we are all corporate parents. And I think it's so important, the messages that are coming out of your report. I'd like all members to be able to understand what you're recommending and to contribute as corporate parents to how we take these recommendations forward. So I know we've got busy diaries and all that, but I think that would be really a good move for elected members as in our role as corporate parents to be able to engage in a discussion around these important issues. So I'll move that as those recommendations. Can we second it, Tony? Is that agreed, Cabinet?
Agreed.
And can I thank you, Wendy, once again for coming to Cabinet and presenting the report. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much. Right. Okay. Right, okay, so now moving on to Central Support Services. We have item 8, Byrne Avenue Recreation Centre. Thank you, Chris. Chris will depart. Okay, so I'm going to propose the following. I think we've got Ben Harrison from the Byrne Avenue Community Trust, who has circulated a paper to Cabinet members. And Ben, I'm going to ask you if you want to just make a presentation to the Cabinet. You've got up to 5 minutes. It'd be useful if you just give us your name and address for the minutes. I'm then going to ask David Armstrong, who's the lead officer on this project, to give us some further information. And then I'm going to ask the Cabinet member, Councillor Adrian Jones, to make some comments, and then we'll move to a decision. So Ben, do you want to kick things off, please? Oh,
silver one.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you. Just name and address first.
Yes, please.
Ben Harrison, 8 Arnside Road, Birkenhead. Okay, I presume you're all aware of the history of Byrne Avenue, 80 years old. Originally run by the council for a long time. I think around about 1996 was transferred to a community trust who ran the building up to approximately 5 years ago, and then for various reasons ceased to be. And we came on the scene, we kind of campaigned to have the building back open and formed a new community trust. And I think I attended a meeting here 3 years ago, and it was agreed of £350,000 from the asset transfer fund to be allocated to Byrne Avenue with some conditions. We signed the lease approximately sometime in 2011. And throughout that time, a guy called John Fenner was leading forward on Byrne Avenue, and about 18 months ago, John stepped aside for various personal reasons. So myself and the other trustees have kind of tried to move forward the project. We've had an interesting journey. As you can imagine, lots of charitable organisations have struggled for funding over the last 3 or 4 years. We went to the lottery, Reaching Communities project. We were kind of sent away saying oversubscribed. Lots of people are coming to us. Your project is now a priority. Try Sport England. So we went to Sport England and went through the whole process of applying for funds from them. Same result back, massively oversubscribed, but are interested in the project going forward, reapply next year. And we've been to various other funders over the last couple of years. Some have agreed to some funding. One major issue we have is that the building is closed, there's no activity, and there's no accounts. So that kind of stops us from applying for a lot of funding. And I think we found ourselves in a catch-22 situation. It's an empty building in Ferry, and there's been a lot of damage to the building. There's been break-ins, we've fixed that. People have been pinching various lead off the roof, and it's obviously had neglect, had no TLC. But over the last 12 months, we think we've managed to move forward. We've recruited a project manager who's been able to put some time in on the ground, done some lower level fundraising in the area, certainly got a lot of community support, and we've now started to clear the grounds of Byrne Avenue to make it look a bit more presentable. So we've refocused our plan, and what we want to do is move forward in phases. We've always looked at the project as being all or nothing, and you can imagine in the climate today, trying to raise 350,000 before we can access your 350,000 has been a tall order. Hindsight is a great thing. So we want to phase the development, get some life back into the building, utilise your 350,000 against 350,000 that we have, and start off by using the sports hall and other rooms and making the baths second phase priority. I think the other thing that we've put in the report as well, we would like to take ownership of the building rather than just lease the building and remove the liability from yourselves. Like with a lot of things, come the final hour when we read the report and we wrote our report, we thought this could go either way. It looked quite negative. Over the last 5 days, we've had £20,000 agreed from Scottish Power, and on Monday we've had confirmation of an anonymous donation, someone who saw the story in the local press, someone who used to swim at the baths and play football, and they've agreed to make up any shortfall up to the 350,000. And they've actually confirmed it in an email. I know Phil Davis and Graham Burgess had sight of that. That is a £300,000 donation, which will also be gift aided, which will take it up to 375,000. So, in summary, we appreciate the support we've had from yourselves. It would have been quite easy to kind of pull the plug on it a long time ago. It has taken longer than we thought, but a golden opportunity now exists to kind of preserve an historic building, in a way bring a brand new leisure community facility to Ferry and Tranmere, which badly needs it, create up to 20 new jobs, and kind of after we've had the Olympics last year, to bring north or to the northwest a good sporting facility and a community facility. It would be a good outcome for the trust, certainly a good outcome for the council, but we would, rather than lease the building from you, we would like to kind of look at an asset transfer and acquire it from yourselves, and we'll take on the total liability ourselves. Like with lots of things, it has moved in the last 6 days, and we believe the money, if we can unlock your money, and what we'd like to do is phase that money, so rather than take the whole 350, is draw it down in tranches and get the thing moving again. But now we're in a position where we've got the match money.
Okay, thanks Ben. Thanks very much. Okay, I'm going to ask Davey now to come on. Thanks very much Ben for that presentation.
I'll sit here, Chair, because I'm aware of the room to sit and read the
So I think David, it would be useful if you could kind of just summarise the report that's before us and maybe respond to some of the points that Ben was making tonight, and obviously we've had his paper in advance as well.
Thank you, Chair. When you asked me to take on the wider council assets in addition to the schools, this was in the intro, right, earlier this year. And I think we have given this matter really careful consideration. We could have brought this report some months ago, but I really wanted people to think about what they said previously and actually confirm the position from the council's perspective. very, very aware that this building is fixed in many people's minds, mainly to do with people who went there as children. The trust members, the ward members, myself, and the Wirral South MP, everybody has said this building occupies a special place because of members they might go in there. Inevitably, the position I'm going to set out is a total contrast to Ben's, but it's in no way meant to rubbish or try and water down what Ben said. It's simply what you like, a fairly cold and clinical view of where we are with this building, within that context of the really cultural. So I think if I just look at three areas really, in terms of the process that's got us here, it's really, as Ben said, people have been trying very hard to make this building work since 1995. This is a surplus asset to the council. The council can meet its needs for swimming, partly with the other tools that you have. You've received a number of reports which show that because of the Wallasey Cheshire legacy, because of the investment in the local pools and Byrne, we have very generous pool provision compared to other similar authorities. We've continued to invest in that. We've put £500,000 into specialist facilities at Stanley, which was mentioned earlier, specialist swimming facilities, and we've committed £500,000 to do exactly the same 2 tanks at the new Foxfield. So this isn't about meeting a need. I'm sure there are people who would like to go here and desirable to go there. It is actually, as far as the council is concerned, a surplus asset. It's actually since 1995, people have genuinely worked hard to try and make this facility work outside of the council. Clearly, it was used for a number of years. It is fair to say that it continued to deteriorate because these are our most expensive buildings to run. I remember being involved when the previous trust was in place because we started to receive complaints from parents, particularly around school staff, standing in the building of schools. So this has been going on a long time. Do I feel coming at it impartially, has the council allowed the group a reasonable time to put the funds together? I think the answer would be yes. I think Ben is right. The climate for fundraising has hardened up considerably. I think it has to be a point of significance that the big players have turned this down. And I think also that there's no business case been brought to the council as per the original lease agreement. And I'm certain that's not because the group lacked the energy to do it, or didn't want to do it, or couldn't be bothered doing it. I think it's the climate they're operating in that they usually get in the grant. So in terms of how we got here, I think the council has been fair in the time it's given. In terms of the condition of the building, I think this is where I have the biggest concern, which is that I think if we were to release the money and the trust were to get their 350, I think the figure of £700,000 is totally unrealistic to bring this building into the same standard of all the community asset transfer buildings. People that I've talked to about this, the structural engineers, the asbestos people, the pipework, the heating ventilation people, they think it would need a factor of 3 to 4 times that amount of money to bring this building up to the right standard, to meet a modern age, and to give it a lifespan beyond a fairly short-term one. And it's worth reminding you, the other community asset transfer groups that come forward, these were very simple buildings compared to this. This is a complicated building. It's an old building, and it has a very, very significant outstanding maintenance need. And I think if you compare, for example, the Oval Leisure Centre, which is a 70s building, in fact, which was built to replace Byrne Avenue, I suspect, when Byrne Avenue started to show problems. There, you refurbished the pool, the changing rooms, the plant, and you've installed new air handling equipment, Legionella energy equipment, to try and bring the cost down of running what are the most expensive buildings. That's cost £2.8 million to do that in a 1970s building. So I think at Leisure Leisure Centre you spent £900,000 refurbishing the change room, toilets and showers and replacing the air handling units. And I'm told it's only by putting in more boilers and air handling plant that you can run a swimming pool in the most economic way. Because unlike the other community asset transfers, you'll be handing over here a building with very, very significant running costs on the pool side. So the structural engineer estimates that there's a particular problem with the building which the trust know about, which isn't visible to the public, and I can see that the public would think looking at the building that it would tidy up and become a nice building again. It has some serious structural problems, particularly to do with the concrete tanking walkways and the floor around the pool. And they were problems for the council. The dealers propping in there, where the building was propped when it was still a council building. They and indeed the structural engineer has concerns about the property, let alone the floors. And to do that properly, to do it to the same standard where it would be for the same lifespan as the other community asset transfers, that work alone is estimated at £1 million. In terms of breaking all that out, removing the asbestos, and really quite work. So this is a building that's got very, very heavy condition needs. And I think our concern would be that however well intentioned the trust were, that the building would be partially restored with the most significant problems still remaining to be done, and you would have no guarantee that sufficient funding would become available to actually do this building properly and back to the basics. And you could face, they could face, and you could face a situation where part of the building is restored to a modest standard, and the rest of it remains untouched because the grants cannot be obtained, and the complications and the costs are very significant. In terms of need on the dry side, which is the bit that the trust would bring back first, again, I think it's got to be a consideration that over the last 10 years you've built 9 sports halls, including one at Benton High, which is only 200 yards away from Byrne. So again, as well as bringing in more capacity on the wet side, you've brought in more capacity on the dry side. And I think that has to be put into factor immediately. I think the overwhelming thing is to do with the condition. I think we would be failing everybody if we allow people to think, be they an anonymous donor, be it the trust, or be it yourselves, that £700,000 will set this building up for a long-term future. Because the advice I've had, and I have questioned people on it, Jeanette and I have gone back over it, we've played the part of coming new to this, although I had sat in cabinet and listened to these discussions over the years about this building. The estimate is that is frankly unrealistic to get this building to a proper standard for a suitable lifespan ahead. And indeed, the more we've looked at this building, the more concerned we have become about its condition, particularly to do with the asbestos, particularly to do with the plumbing and the various weaknesses in the building. And indeed, we would propose that if you do accept the recommendation we put to you, that we would move to clear the site as soon as possible. And we want to explore with the community and the board members what is the use of the site.
Bring Adrian in a second. Dave, can I just, because it is an iconic building. I swam there when I played football when I was a kid, but I suppose my main concern is health and safety in all of this. So could you just say a little bit more about what you think the work that needs to be done, just to bring it up to a standard where people are safe to use it? I think that's a really important issue for us. We need to take account of.
I think, as Ben said, I appreciate what he said. The trust have made efforts in recent weeks to tie the building up. Because I think there's another aspect to this, which is this is a monster of a building. It's a big building, and it's cheap by job with residential properties. And I don't think we have been a good neighbour to those groups. They had years and years of having parking issues because the building has a car park, and that's been replaced by residential building, which we left alone. So I think the building, you can bring any building back into use, and if you started with the dry side, clearly that's easy. That's where the floor was laid over the small pool and it can be used for dry sport activity. However, clearly the building has one set of service lines. It's serviced in one way. The quantity of asbestos is larger than you find in a normal building because there's more pipe work there, there's more plant equipment. Similarly with the electrics, similarly with the water supply, things like drinking water supply and so on. We'd have to be very, very careful